Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. Got a review of the campaign ship, the Tier 8 Japanese battleship Iwami, which didn't really exist, although we can dig around in the history a little bit. Sleeping Giant, there is a look at the teams. There are aircraft carriers, although they won't play a big part in this battle. And really quickly, WoW's builds, damage record 301,515, XP record 3729. The Sigma of the Iwami is 1.9, which is pretty good. Fires per minute 2.26. The arming threshold of the armor-piercing shells is 68 millimeters. The overmatch is 29 millimeters. And yeah, we are moving out. So the Iwami was one of the designs of the Yamato class. So the Iwami was never built. There were two designers who were kind of battling back and forth. One was an alcoholic. The other guy did whatever the Navy wanted. So, I mean, whatever. This ship didn't exist. Who cares? You know, it's just a drawing on a piece of paper. They were messing around with turret arrangements. That's where this thing came from. All right, speaking of messing around, we're messing around with a Suzuya. Why you would sail a Suzuya broadside to a Tier 8 Japanese battleship is kind of mind-blowing to me. I don't know why. But I'm not complaining, because this Suzuya is going to continue without deviating his course at all. And so we get another salvo out. I know I haven't gone up the Japanese tech tree line yet. There is a First Blood, kill number 1 on the Suzuya here in the Iwami. I haven't gone up this line yet. A lot of Japanese battleships have a rear bias to the turrets, meaning a majority of their turrets start off facing to the rear, or they have more turrets behind than in front of the superstructure. This ship is a rarity that it has an equal amount of turrets in front and behind the ship, a traditional ABXY arrangement. Most Japanese ships don't. For example, the Myoji, which is the worst ship in the game, Myoji has 1 turret in front, 3 turrets in the rear. I think Ashitaka has a 5x2 arrangement, 3 of those point to the rear. So if I ever go up the Japanese battleship line, you'll see that running away or kiting away in a Japanese battleship is entirely a valid way to get guns on the target, simply because the turret arrangement is based that way on running away. Here we don't have to worry about that. We can head towards the enemy. We're shooting at that Kronstadt, who's kind of stopped in the water. Because he's nearly straight on, I'm not expecting to do a ton of damage. Alright, continuing to move forward. Blah, blah, blah. First London Naval Treaty. Haraga and Fujimoto were the designers we talked about. Influence on the A140 design. So one of the other A140 designs, I think, is the Tier 8 Tech Tree battleship, Izumo, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I haven't reviewed that yet, so whatever. We're shooting at the enemy Iwami, who's running away. Still got the Kronstadt, Vittorio Veneto over here as well. Continuing to move in. Let's forget all the theory crafting here, as Quickie would say. Let's get into the stat selection. Alright, we are going to go 14 ships at Tier 8. Hit points, number 1, Sovietsky Soyuz, 88,100. Iwami is 5th, 80,700. Firing range, Frederick Gross, 18.9 is number 1. Iwami kind of towards the bottom, 17.2. Armor-piercing DPM, Marlboro number 1, 422, 400. Iwami kind of on the lower side, 244, 800. Secondary battery range, number 1, Peter Ruprecht 7.5. Iwami is number 6 with 6.0. AA DPS number 1 is Maine, 669. Number 5 is Iwami, 391. Musashi is last with 142. That is your stat comparison. All right, we found a nice parking spot. We're going to try to capture the spot here now that we're done with the stat comparison and what little history there is to tell about a ship that never existed. And so we're going to just start farming damage. We're at a pretty good angle to most of these ships. We've got the island in the way of the Venetos, so I'm not really terribly worried about his shells. And we're backing up a little bit so we can get this base cap. We do get an assisted base cap. And I don't think I can get the shells over the island on the Veneto there. All right, Kronstadt out there, other Iwami running away. Got set on fire twice.
The ship is on fire.
I just cannot pick a good target here. I'm sorry. We'll go for Veneto, and we just get the shells over the first island, but I don't think we got them over the second island, so we did some landscaping there. Although we do get some armor belt hits and overpens and whatnot. So I'd really like some support because the guy next to me died. Plenty of ships are more than happy to hang out behind me, but not willing to advance. Are they idiots or am I an idiot? You tell me. Alright, set on fire twice again. This really sucks, so I'm hoping someone else will set me on fire so I can get put out. No such luck. So we're just going to burn for a little bit. Gonna shoot at the Kronstadt here. He sets the third fire. Thank you so much, Mr. Kronstadt. And we will engage our heel here, maybe. Oh, we're backing up because the Jean Bart's trying to do the okie doke here and go up the middle. We are not falling for that. Glacial turret traverse. I just still don't understand why Japanese battleships only have 2 rifles per turret. I find that very annoying. Why they stuck with that throughout the war. Didn't they see other ships had 3 or 4? Come on, people. Get with the program. Alright, John Bart's driving through the middle like he doesn't care. We are trying to get all our turrets lined up so we can Hulk smash them. And, he dropped spot, so I guess we're not going to do that. I do not recommend blind firing with this ship into the mist. Alright, there we go. Shots out on Jean Bart. I think he was angling away. So that salvo pretty much didn't do anything. But he's continuing to back up. And I think, unfortunately, he's going to get within my teammate's range here and get smoked in a minute. Because right now he's pretty much going full broadside to, or parallel to the rear of the map. Just starting to turn now. We'll shoot again. And we take him down to the very nub and somebody else finishes him off. Alright, where are we at damage-wise? 72k. Still got a ways to go. Alright, so most of the ships are hiding in the middle. Got a Riga, a Kansas, and a Vanguard. And still out there is Vittorio Veneto, which has no health left. I decide we're going to ignore Vittorio Veneto. Our team is still down. But the enemy team, I think, is going to do some really stupid stuff here. Plus, we've got 2 base caps and they have none. So we're going to use that to our advantage. Kronstadt out there, Vittorio Veneto out there. And so, again, we're turning away from the main battle and trying to get these turrets free on Kronstadt. Heavy cruiser, and we're going to light him up with a salvo there. As you can see, dispersion, not great. We do get a hit to Citadel there, just short of 90,000 damage. And I think he's still aiming at someone else. And so you really got to pay attention to the turrets. But now that we can see that, we are just going to shorten our lead a little bit because of his angle. And send another salvo his way. And do some okay damage, not great damage. And we're just working on our reload. And that salvo was horrible. And he gets killed before we can shoot. Alright, Vittorio Veneto. Are we going to aim up in the middle of nowhere and see if we'll run into them? Yes, we are. But I am going to turn hard to starboard here and do a U-turn, because I'm not chasing Veneto to the edge of the map. In a game like a domination match, don't let enemy ships take you out in the middle of nowhere. We've got plenty of good targets right here in the middle of the map, like this Kansas. So I'm going to continue my hard turn to starboard here, and I'm going to start shooting at the Kansas, and we come into contact with a durable landmass. Alright, how's that salvo doing? Well, at least we got some hits. We're just short of 100,000 damage right now. And we're going to aim and fire again here. If he didn't disappear. Vanguard pops up. He's still way behind an island. I guess we'll shoot at the Kansas anyway. And I have no idea where Veneto is at, so... So far, this spot is really boring. Maybe I should have done the stat review here. Good grief. And may go up the Japanese battleship line, not this update, but the next update. I forgot to mention some content I'm going to be bringing during this next update. The Italian destroyer line update is going to be my battleship, average player's guide to battleships. So hopefully you'll find that amusing. Probably in a similar format to the average guide to destroyers. So we'll talk about base commander selections and stuff like that. We'll talk about, hey, is this battleship a brawler or is it a sniper? We'll look at some examples of that kind of stuff. When to use your survivability commander, when to use your range commander. Maybe one for each of those kind of ships. And maybe we'll talk about battleships that you could play either way, you know? So yeah, and then we'll talk about strategy and capture the base and strategery in a domination match as we put some shells on the Vanguard. The Veneto is inside his own smokescreen, so I don't know if he can see us. This Vanguard really went behind an island, so we couldn't get great shots there. But this Riga, on the other hand, is coming out into the water, the open water, so that is my new target. Although he doesn't appear to be going forward very fast, so we cut back on our lead. And believe it or not, that grouping kind of looks way better than some of the other ones, but he turned in, so it didn't do any good. And we're turning in as well, continuing to turn in, hoping to get shots at Vanguard. None of my teammates are spotting. We're still losing this match, by the way. So, don't worry, the big comeback is about to happen. Honest. Alright, Vanguard can't get shots at that. I am not messing around with Veneto because he is dead. Good job to my teammate. And I think we're even now, 4 ships aside. GG, teammate. Kansas is tempting. You know what's more tempting? Broadside Riga, that's what's more tempting. Shots out on the Riga. There's a nice hit to Citadel. And 4 overpens, it looks like, so that's not ideal. But we're going to keep moving in here. We have an enormous lead in points. And I'm just like, yo, it's YOLO time. Now, something I haven't talked about all game, maybe I did launch one set of torpedoes as a screening measure in the beginning of the match. That's what these torpedoes are primarily meant for, is screening areas, very long range, like 15 kilometers, very slow, very visible. But occasionally you'll get in a scenario like we're going to get in right now, where you've got an onrushing enemy ship that you have way more health than, and there's no real way to maneuver without A, giving up your broadside, or B, getting rammed. And so because I don't want to get rammed, I am going to expose my broadside. Now this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make, because I have so much hit points that I can afford to take the front two turrets of a Kansas. So we're going to turn broadside, we're going to take those front two turrets and take a bunch of damage, but the torpedoes are out, and that ended the match. First kill of the game, and the final kill to end the game. Just like my, maybe Shiratsu video? I don't know. Alright, here we are on the victory screen. First Blood Medal, Dreadnought Medal, 159,177 total damage. 78 main battery hits, 1 torpedo strike, 2 kills, 3 hits to Citadel, and an assisted base cap. We ended up with 362,231 silver and 5385 ship XP and commander XP here in Iwami. And there we are at the top of the board. 2 medals, 2 big kills, 2761 base XP. Good game to Turpitz and Saipan chipping in there. 2 kills. We did not take any fire really from the enemy aircraft carrier at all. All right, here we are in the port, taking a look at the upgrades. Aiming system mod 1, damage control system mod 2, concealment system mod 1, and AA guns mod 3. Yeah, I know that sounds weird. All right. Here in the loadout, 3 charges of the repair party, nothing special there. 3 charges of the enhanced secondary targeting consumable, really meaningless. Epic battle booster for the main battery range and movement speed. Got the Type 9 permanent camo and the campaign special Iwami flag. Moving on to the stats, 80,700 hit points and a 37% torpedo damage reduction with our build. Got those 4 twin 410mm turrets, 19.8 kilometer firing range, 25 second reload, 28.4 second turn time. My battery is dying bit by bit here. Anyway, HE shells 6,300 max damage, 30% fire chance. AP shells 12,750 max damage. A lot of secondaries. The range is 6.3 kilometers. You can see the numbers there, but the reload of those 3x3s is very, very slow, and I would not build into the secondaries at all, and I'm going to have to pause this while I plug in my computer. All right, here's your torpedoes. Again, we talked about that 15 kilometer range. They do 20,967 max damage. 67 knot speed, and you got a quad launcher on each stern side of the ship, so it's got a really rearward torpedo angle, but that's pretty standard for a lot of the Japanese ships, especially those early cruisers had that really far back torpedo launching angle. Here's your AA. Your best AA is those dual purpose secondaries, 5 kilometer range, 208 damage per second. Max speed of Iwami, 29 knots, 880 meter turning circle, 18 second rudder shift time. Concealment, 13.6 on the surface, 11.4 from the air, 15.4 when firing in smoke. Take a look at our stats. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get wins. This was my best game in the Iwami, as you can see. And probably the only torpedo strike I've ever landed in this ship. So yeah, I found it hard to get a good match to show you guys. All right, here in the armor viewer, there's some things to like and dislike. I dislike the Citadel. It seems to be sitting a little higher in the water than I would care for. Turrets and barbettes, while I like that the turret faces are sloped and heavily armored, however, I don't like the rest of the turret and barbette armor. It appears to be very light. So keep those turret faces towards the enemy. That's a good thing. 32 millimeter bow, no kind of armor belt there. That's pretty standard. Side plating, pretty standard, down to the keel. Casemate armor, you do have a side belt of 380 millimeters, but you're still getting absolutely smashed if you show that broadside. And the rest of the stuff catches on fire. All right, so that's the Iwami's armor profile. Not great, but not terrible. Especially those turret faces. I really like that they're sloped and heavily armored. All right, here's our commander, Takeo Takagi. He is the commander I recommend for Iwami. Base trait increases the hit points restored by the repair party. Azure Lane, New Jersey. Angelo Iacchino. Flammable Cannoneer in row 1. Crisscross in row 2. Marksmanship in row 3. Reaching out XXL in row 4. And the legendary skill is Fight Fire with Fire. That is the campaign ship Iwami of the most recent campaign. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button.